Yes, that used to be me. In the graveyard of disappointments, where I felt that all of my dreams had died. After 3 failed marriages, 2 repossessed cars, and 1 freak accident at the hair salon, who could be expected to recover? My children. It was hard, but I fixed my shit. Now I am an entrepreneur, an author, sister, friend, wife. And I am here to help you become stronger and better. My name is IMANI VANZAP.
I'm watching your
and I'm here to help you fix your
Is it the end of it now?
shit.
Here we go. All right. All right, good afternoon, good evening. Listen to me, okay? Good evening, everyone. How are you? Hope everyone is having an amazing day, all right? Let's get to it. Let's get on into it. My name is IMANI VANZAP, and I'm here to help you fix your shit, all right? I am excited on tonight. Listen, I just believe that, you know, with all that's going on in the world, that we need moments of encouragement. We need moments of inspiration and validation, if you will. And so I wanted to kick things off with that by bringing in some guests that can come and just kind of shed some light, share who they are, show us their brilliance, talk about themselves and whatnot. And that is going to be seen in none other than our guest on tonight, Doug Spearman. So just before we bring him on, I want to make sure that we do a little bit of housekeep, all right? So if you have not already, please hit like and share on the videos. You know how this goes. It's social media, okay? It's not going to sell itself. So I need to make sure that you're telling people about it. Tag people below. I know some of you may have conservative pages and they don't want to see, you know, some fabulous woman talking to a gay man on screen. That's fine. Tag them. Go watching Under the Covers at night when their wife is not looking, okay? All right. So I am excited to have this interview on today. And so we can just get into some things and be excited about what is going on in the world. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and make sure that we do this here. All right. We have none other than Doug Spearman. Give it up wherever you are. Clap wherever you are. Just put hand claps in the comments and everything. All right. Doug, how are you? Can you hear me, Doug?
Me. Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, good to see you too. Yes, I can hear you. I'm so appreciative of you being here. How was your day? Let's just get it. Let's sweet and nice. How was your day?
It was very nice. It's 8 o'clock here. It's after 8 o'clock where I live now.
Okay.
And I've been working on judging a film festival that's happening with George Mason, Virginia. So I'm going through student films right now. So this is a nice little break. Talk to you.
Yeah, that is good. What got you into you're just doing everything.
Well, you got to stay busy. I mean, you know, it's we're all locked up, and I'm at home. And
listen,
you know, I've got
so much but you're busy nonetheless. That is wonderful. So, you know, before we even say that, let me give a little rundown of who we're talking to. This isn't just anyone. All right, just so you all, this isn't just any old body that I just pulled out here. Many of you, I'm quite sure, are like, where do I know this young man from? Where do I know this chocolate king for us right now? Where do I know him from? And I can tell you that though he has done a lot, for many of us, myself as well, he entered our hearts through a show that we call Arc. Right, played the role of Chance. I'll let him put it into his own words, what the character was like for him, but we know what Chance meant to us. And how Chance was always, you know, busy and on point and kept schedules and made sure that things were in order. And we just love to see him carry out that character. So I'm just so glad to have you right now and to be able to just tell us about Noah's Ark. What was that like?
That's
a heavy question.
That's yeah, it is. It's a complicated question. I need a drink.
Okay, is that what? Is that bad? We need to say, okay. Do you have vodka in there? Is that vodka?
No, I would never say that.
Okay.
Okay, so Patrick put it together, and it was originally supposed to just be an internet thing. You know, we did a bunch of little shorts, and they got a lot of attention. And then Logo came to a screening in New York and saw us and decided to make that their first scripted series. And the funny thing was, I wasn't originally Chance. I mean, I wasn't originally in the show. Well, when it first started, we all, like every black actor who could walk, roll, or crawl came in for an audition. And I remember that Saturday. I will never forget that Saturday. And I actually read originally for Ricky.
Yeah, I thought it in the director's cut, I believe.
Yeah, for Christian's part. In fact, my audition is on the DVD. All our auditions, I think, are on the first season DVD extra bonus stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the part, you know. And then they hired an actor who had, for a lot of reasons, including the fact that his representatives didn't want him to do a gay show. Pulled him out. And so Patrick called me, and I was on my way to New York for vacation with my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I couldn't do it because he wanted to shoot on Monday, and I was going to be gone for a week. And then he called me and called me and called me, and I got to New York, and I was at the luggage carousel at JFK, and I heard Patrick's message, and I talked to my boyfriend. And he said, call him. And so I did, and we talked. And then I asked my boyfriend how he would feel about flying back Monday.
Yeah.
So I could shoot Monday night. And what was really intriguing to me, and I think was really the thing that sold me on the show, was doing the show, was the fact that I would be playing a character who was in a relationship and had a daughter. And I had never seen two black gay men raise a child on television. And I hadn't seen two black gay men who actually had, you know, real jobs and careers, and we had a home.
Yes.
And that was the thing that got me in there. And what kept me in there, aside from the fact that we realized that we, you know, like it was a dream come true to finally get a television series.
Absolutely.
Better just co-stars and guest stars, which I had. But it was also just the little things I got to bring to Chance. And, you know, it's funny. Everybody thinks of Chance as being super pulled together and super on point all the time. But if you really go back and watch, Chance had a drinking problem.
Yeah, you're right.
And like there was always a bottle of wine, and everything's got tough. I always asked for a glass of white wine to have around, or a bottle. And there are a couple scenes where I'm actually slurring my words and trying to hide it because I've been drinking. And, you know, there were just little things like that. So he wasn't, I mean, like his life was on once, you know, it's more interesting if you play somebody who's got some problems. Aside from a philandering husband, I wanted to give him something that people would have to deal with, you know? Yeah.
Impediments are always good. I think, did you add that impediment for yourself, that nuance for yourself as far as the drinking? Was that something that was already there, or did you, you know, kind of embellish as you felt inspired?
No, I did it. I did it. And I don't know if Patrick was really crazy about the idea, but I'm like, look, he's always so stressed out. No, it's not just that, but, you know, like a lot of things that I said on the show were like, you know, I was always scolding somebody.
Yes.
And I was always trying to hold it together. And I thought, this guy's got to have a problem.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm glad that you chose that. And that, I mean, if we're really talking about, you know, some real stuff right here, that's something that happens a lot. And I'm sure, especially with all this COVID and stay in place and shelter here and don't talk to this one and stay 20 feet away, I'm sure that's bringing up people's proclivities, if you will. And so they have that to kind of look at as a model. I would say that's really kind of cool. Now, what was it like working with Patrick and Paul?
Patrick is a really creative cat.
Yeah.
He's like a tall Noah. I mean, Noah was based on Patrick. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he was. Patrick is Noah.
Wow.
Only a super tall version of Noah. Not the Daryl Short.
With a dose of Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he really is. He is his own Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah.
He's a very creative person. A lot of what I do, I couldn't have done if it hadn't been for him and for the road that he went down and the stuff that he created, the films and the TV shows that he created. And he and Maurice and Quincy and DeAndre, you know, these guys created shows like movies like Ski Trip and the DL Chronicles. And, you know, I'm walking in their footsteps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing. And then so as far as and you don't if thing that you can't talk about, tell me to mind my business. Say because I like it and I'm grown. You can tell Auntie to stay in her place. Okay.
All
Now
right.
we of course as many people were disappointed when Noah's Ark was off the air because it touched us so much. Can you speak to that? The abruptness of taking it off the air, or are there plans to bring it back, or just why
Well,
did it get snatched away so quickly?
okay.
It made it sad.
All right. Well, see, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Patrick doesn't own the show.
Uh-huh.
Viacom owns the show.
Who? Oh my. Okay, got it.
So Logo's run by Viacom.
Yeah.
Right? Which owns MTV, VH1. So they have the show. So I have no idea why they pulled the show off the air. I think it was because there were two other scripted series that they wanted to bring on. One was for lesbians, and another one was a series. Why am I blanking on the series? It was based on two films.
Was the lesbian at the L Word?
No, well, the lesbian one was a surfer version of the L Word.
Oh,
it was
got it.
It was kind of like the L Word and kind of like Noah's Ark, but it was in California and it was surfers. In fact, I know that they used our sets. And the other one was set in the Deep South and starred Leslie Jordan.
Okay.
And so I think we were all sharing the same budget, and it was like, okay, we gave you guys a couple years, and so we're going to give the space to somebody else. But they brought us back and they gave us a movie. So
yeah, and the film was amazing. Me and so many other people, we saw it and loved it and gave us a chance to kind of relive those moments, with the characters and whatnot. Do you stay in contact? Now, I know we're going to, of course, Daryl Stevens, and I know that you're constantly staying in contact with him. Do you talk to anyone else from the cast?
No, not really. I mean, Daryl and I were friends before Noah's Ark.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So Daryl and I had a lot of connections before the show even started.
I understand. Okay.
And so, we studied at the same place briefly, and we just have a lot of mutual friends. So that's how we've been in each other's orbit. But I think Christian, lives back in Canada because he is Canadian.
Yeah.
Rodney has his own talent agency, which he actually started the same year we started Noah's Ark.
Oh my, okay.
Jensen's doing his thing in LA.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. And I'm so glad to hear that you say that you studied. That's one thing that I don't know if you want to speak to it, but I will say that the way things are going now, anybody can get a job. Anybody can, you have enough followers, you can go in whatever you set your mind to. As far as yourself being a trained actor, let's talk about that. Where did you study?
Oh, well, okay, so I got my first part when I was 7.
7?
And yeah, I was 7. And I got bit like hard. I was on stage at 7 and I thought, this is it. This is what I really want to be doing. And I did little projects, community stuff.
Yeah.
Until I was about 14. And then I started training specifically as an actor, which my parents did not want me to do. They didn't want me to be a dancer, and I wanted to be a ballet dancer. And they didn't want me to be, I did. I wanted to be a ballet dancer. I took ballet classes in secret for years.
What? A ballet dancer. This is something new.
And then my dad found out when I was in college because I was taking it through the school. And I will never forget when my report card came and my dad screamed my name. And I had to go downstairs and confront the fact that I had been taking ballet. They didn't want me to be an actor either. Although it was the thing that I was glued to old movies and TV shows.
Oh, let me tell you, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, exactly. And but I did it anyway. And so I tricked my parents and I double majored in theater performance and direction and television production and direction, and I minored in art history. And then I came out of school and I started working behind the camera because I didn't actually have any courage. I didn't have the courage of my own convictions to start acting immediately. And sometimes I regret it, and a lot of times I don't. No, but I started off as a television writer and a director. So I did that for a long time.
Because you've worked for almost every network, it seems.
Yes.
In some shape or form.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, for those who don't know, let me just tell you. All right, like I told you before, we bring people here. They're people that they mean something to us. All right. give you a rundown of some of the shows that you would have seen the fabulous Stevens on. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, both of you are DS. I'm gonna get confused. I'm sorry. Noah's Ark, of course, we know that. Drew Carey, The Hewleys, Charmed, Gideon's Crossing, Mad TV, and Girlfriends, just to name a few. Did I miss anything?
Well, there are a couple things there.
That is
hell. My first TV show. Thank you. Well, my first TV show was I played a killer on America's Most Wanted. I shot my wife, and I shot her boyfriend.
Oh, drama right out the gate.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually a lot of fun. I wish I could find that. I really wish I could. I still had hair then. That's how long ago it was. You there? You
film and television. It started behind the camera. Oh, can you hear me? Can you see me?
You did. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now.
Okay, it's sometimes a lag, but I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so basically you started behind the camera, then went in front of.
Yeah, so I was living in Boston, and I was working at CBS in Boston, and I was a writer. I was a writer, producer, director in Boston.
Okay.
And I was casting a commercial, and I had used the 3 black actors in Boston already over the course of a couple of years.
Okay.
And the casting director said, well, why don't you do it? And I thought, well, maybe I should. But I thought my boss would kill me. My boss would kill me if I put myself in this.
Oh.
And so I waited a couple of months, and then another television station. Actually, I started auditioning for what are called industrials, which are like the in-house training films that people do for corporations. So I started doing those in Boston.
Okay.
And then I started doing some different commercials and doing voiceovers. In fact, my first paid gig, believe it or not, was doing the voice of General Robbie Lee in a series about the Civil War. And I was reading his diaries and his letters to his wife.
Oh my goodness!
So I voiced Robert E. Lee.
Isn't it amazing where life takes us? You would never listen. I always say, I tell people all the time, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that I'd be sitting up here with 301 lashes and nails out, I told you were a liar. All right, but you never know where life is going to take you. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So when it comes down to television, you worked your way into television, and that was good. Then dark. Okay, we're seeing the ending of that, and I just want to let you know. Somebody said so you can still be a ballet dancer if you want to. Do you still dance? Further, do you still dance?
I haven't. I haven't.
I'm sure you do it. It's okay.
I haven't really danced. I danced around the kitchen last night. That was pretty intense.
Okay.
I haven't had a formal dance class in a while. I broke my foot in 3 places. Right before Noah's Ark, and then over the last few years, I've torn each of my calf muscles.
Oh no!
To the point of almost having surgery. So I'm really careful about like what moves below my knees. But I love to dance. You know.
How'd you break your foot, child? How'd you break your foot?
I was doing a commercial, and I was running, believe it or not, in clogs. And I was wearing clogs, and I stepped in. We were working on a farm, and I stepped in a hole, and then went home, and my foot hurts, and I went to run and answer a phone, and I jumped over one of my dogs at the time, and landed wrong because I'm flat-footed, and just snap.
True. Oh yes.
Hey, it's hard to find a black person without flat feet.
I know. Whenever I find one, I'm like, you're a unicorn. Okay, but the rest of us. We're on the ground, okay? Oh my God. Well, listen. Well, if you got some people that are rooting for you, so if you ever want to do some light moves or whatever, I'll we'll turn on the camera and let you go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm not opposed to it. I still would like to do it, and I took classes for a long time in LA until about 5-6 years ago.
Okay. Well, listen. I'm gonna go ahead and push forward here. So let's get into what you're doing now. So I was very fresh, when we connected on Facebook and whatnot. You and my, when you connected on Facebook, I was able to see what you're doing now, and just to see you behind the camera and just how happy you look in doing so. I mean, you just look like you're right at home, like you've been doing it for a million years. I'm the director's
Well,
chair.
kind of. Well,
Yeah.
but here's the deal. So I was raised as an only child, and
Oh,
yeah. So I had an older brother, but my brother was 24 years older than me. Right?
oh wow,
I was
wow,
that's
really?
yeah. Like my parents had grandkids older than me,
Oh my
and
goodness.
and when you play by yourself, you're playing on the floor and you're moving the trucks and the Barbies and the GI Joes and you're
Yeah.
making the whole thing up. When you're an actor, you're just a GI Joe. But when
Yeah.
you're the director, you get to move all the pieces around and you
Oh,
discover
yeah.
all of that thing. So that's why I think I have more fun, because I feel like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's how you should be having fun. And what do they say when the day that you're having fun, do the. We know that's partly true, but because we work
Yeah.
very hard. You do feel almost like a kid in the store with anything you try at that point. So that's really good. Would you say that you have not resting place? That sounds morbid, but sweet spot. Would you say the directing is your sweet spot?
Writing and directing, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Although I have to say I love acting. I don't love it as I love directing more than I love acting, but I think I'm a pretty good actor, so I really like doing it. And it's only been in the last year it's only been probably in the last 30 years I've not been taking class for the last 2.
Not been taking class for the last 2 years. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, there's always that's so
you should always be working on something.
Always be working on, always have a project going. I'm as I would say, a serial creator. I'm always with one project, not one, another one having already begun. So
what I meant by that was not only just having something creative, but I'm a serial learner.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like to always learn something new. I'm always trying to learn another language. I'm always going into Google holes, but I also I've studied with some amazing people. Like my last teacher for the last 24 years was Richard Lawson, and things that I learned from Richard were amazing. And Jeffrey Tambor and Gloria Gifford and Milton Gonzalez, who was actually Richard's teacher. I was taught to study and to practice. Like athletes always have a coach. I mean, like no athlete doesn't have a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
the singers always have a coach. It's just what it is. If that's your craft, you always want to have somebody that's going to keep you on your toes.
Sure.
I want to make sure that we're bringing people in of quality and people that are of inspiration. So if you have things you want to know, listen, let me know and we'll talk about it, okay? So we're advancing forward. We're back, and we're talking with the amazing Doug Spearman, who lived in LA forever and now is in New Orleans. So tell us about that trip before we get into your amazing films. What pulled you out of LA and took you to Louisiana?
It's going to sound stupid. It's really going to sound stupid. But okay, so I took a bike ride last summer. So I was here. I'm writing. I was in New Orleans. I came to New Orleans for because I wrote another movie that I'm going to do, and it's set here in New Orleans, and I wanted to see how it worked in relation to the reality of the script, and then what would it be like to really shoot here. And I was it was just fantastic. I mean, it was hot, it was humid, and I grew up in humidity, and I kind of missed it, and I missed how nice people are down here. And I'm from DC originally, and which is the north part of the South, but it's still the South. And my mom's from Tennessee, my dad's from Mississippi. So I was raised with sort of the Southern attitude. DC is really the South, and I was writing so I was staying actually in the apartment that I live in right now. It used to belong to my friend Roy, and I was staying here, and I was riding Roy's bike. And one night I had taken myself out to dinner, and it was a really great night, and I'd had a really great trip, and I'd gotten all the stuff accomplished, and I was riding the bike, and I was just zigzagging up the street that is overarched with oak trees, with the Spanish moss and the whole thing, and it was a full moon, and I thought, I'm really happy. I'm really happy. And and I didn't, and I, you know, like I knew the mailman. I had been talking to, you know, like I knew the neighbors, and I'd been here for 8 days.
Wow.
And I thought I missed this. And you know, there's a Catholic church not too far from me, and I could time my day by the bells of the church.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Plus, the city only has like 10% of the same population, 10% population as LA. Plus, it's the most integrated city I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are all kinds of people everywhere, and this is where light-skinned Black people come from, evidently.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen so many in my life.
Right.
And I just needed to live in a world that had more color and texture and history and even flavor to it.
Yeah.
And LA has changed a lot, and not in a good way for me over the last couple of years. And I just thought, I need to do this. I need to do this. So I came back and I was like, I'm moving to Louisiana.
Okay. I was shocked. I'm all the way in Atlanta, and even when I saw you post, I was like, "Is he playing with us?" And next thing I knew, I saw the big willow tree. He's there.
Yeah, he's here. He's here. All of my stuff is still in LA, and my apartment is damn empty. I have 2 lamps and a bed, and my friend Roy left me his sofa, which is nice. But I need to go back to LA and get my stuff.
That's funny how you joy, and it's the simplicity of life.
Well, you know what it is? I mean, and this is what my stories are always about, and this is what I'm about. You know, I had pretty strict parents. I mean, there were things I could do and there were things I couldn't do, but I was exposed to a lot. And I had relationships where I had to be this guy for this part, and I had to do, you know what I mean? And even acting, you're very much at the whim of other people. And I thought at this point in my life, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I want to follow the happiness wherever it leads me. The pure happiness that comes from my heart and my gut. And sitting I live in an area that has a bayou, believe it or not. And I'm sitting on a bridge at the bayou on this bicycle, and I thought, you know what? I'm moving. I'm doing this. It's crazy, but I'm doing it. And I've never been happier.
And there you go. So we've gone from Eve's Bayou to Doug's Bayou. Right,
exactly. It's definitely Doug's Bayou. And I can still work in film and television because there's a lot that's shot down here.
And you know what? That was going to just take me to my point. So not being in LA hasn't hindered your creativity or your accomplishments at all. You've been able to just keep on kicking. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm setting up my 3rd movie down here, and I've even in quarantine, I've auditioned because, like people want to hit the ground running. So, I've been auditioning on video and sending it in and just doing the do just like everybody else.
Oh my goodness. So listen, let's take that to the film that I want to talk about first. So I'm going to do this in order of how I saw them. From 0 to I Love You.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing film. A rom-com. Loved it.
Thank you.
Tell us about this film.
So, believe it or not, it's actually based on my life. Well, both of those films are based on my life. Yes, there have been more than a few married men in my life.
Let's keep it real.
It's true. And I wanted to write a story to see if I could stop it from happening, if I could understand it. And what I did is I learned a lot about myself.
Right.
And it took me 4 years to shoot it. And we shot it it's based on my life when I was living in Boston, and I was going to shoot it in Boston, but it turned out to be easier and less expensive to shoot it in Philadelphia, which I grew up like 2 hours from Philly. So, so I loved it, and I wanted to just you put the picture up. That's really great.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just do, I wanted to make a movie that reminded me of the kind of movies I grew up watching, like sort of the old-fashioned star-crossed romance where like somebody's having it. It's actually, there was a movie that my mother made me watch from the 1950s called Backstreet, about a fashion designer who falls in love with a guy, and then we and it has this very tragic ending, and I'd left out the tragic ending.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Daryl Stevens, who does an amazing job playing a character named Peter, is based on me. And Scott Bailey, who plays Jack, his love interest. You know, the whole cast. I can't say enough about everybody in that cast. Daryl Stevens, Jay Hughley, Leslie Zemeckis, Richard Lawson, Stephen Bowman is amazing. Gregory Zarian is fantastic. And Gregory's, who plays a guy named Christopher Randolph, is actually up for a Daytime Emmy this year. So, and Daryl put his heart and soul in this, and I can't be more grateful for the work that they all put in for my little movie.
You can feel it. You can feel it. And if I can just add in there that one of the things that one of the many things that I love about you and Daryl in particularly is just how multifaceted you are with your acting. It's those things where, be careful if you get, cast in a hit TV show or something like that, because you'll be typecast forever. And I love to see, Daryl morphing into different types of men, and that you were able to bring that out of him, and he was able to bring that to the screen. What was can you speak to that? What was the conversation you had about what type of man he was, say, in Noah's Ark to what he presented in your film?
Well, we actually had a lot of talks about that because I know who Daryl is, and I mean, Daryl was what? I think Daryl was 22 or 23 when I met him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was young. He was really young. And so much hair.
Right.
I know Daryl, and I know what a multi-layered person he is. And I knew that he had the depth that I was looking for to play Peter Logsdon, the character he played in the film. And so, the great thing about, having worked and lived in LA and studied with a ton of people over the years is that, like, I cast the movie, with the exception of Scott Bailey, basically out of my phone. Like, everybody I know is in that movie.
I was going to ask.
Everybody, and if you look at the first one, Hot Guys with Guns, you'll see the exact same cast is in the movie except for Scott.
Yeah, I mean, it was but that's when you have family. And that's what I love about what we do is that when you have acting is really about building families of creativity, and you're able to do that. You're going to see the same people over and over and over again, and it's a common thing that you see. I'm glad you were able to stick with him and together with that.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic actor, but he keeps me on my toes because Daryl's releasing an album, or he's writing a self-help book, or he's writing another movie, or he's on TV. You know what I mean? Like. He is busy. It was just
what was the 20s with what is her name? Her series, he played a guest role on there. So it's good to still see him out there doing his thing as well too. What I loved about when I saw From Zero to I Love You was choices in terms of just how you told the story through the lens. I love little tricks you did. I remember me and Eric's husband, Tony, were sitting there watching the film, and there was a moment where Daryl Stevens was walking with was it Scott Bailey, and they're going down a little alley, and all of a sudden they're coming back away. Brilliant. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That's not Scott and Daryl. That's not Scott and Daryl walking away from you. That's another couple. Yeah. So, but we wanted to fool you, so they go left, and then they reveal Scott and Daryl.
That was so smooth. I love that. That was everything.
Thank you very much.
Little things like that. It was a little surprise nuggets that you gave the audience. Thought was just so thoughtful that we don't always see. I want to ask a question here. Let me see. We have a question from our audience. How do you feel? Brandon Maddox asked, "How do you feel, Doug, about Black men have represented now in comparison to when you were on? What do you think has happened since then?"
Well, I think Noah's Ark was certainly important, and we were the first sort of group of black men, gay black men, on television.
Yeah.
But there had been shows where we had showed up before, and there were even things like the DL Chronicles, which is like a year older than us, and like films like Ski Trip and Patrick Polk's Punks. You know, those were all years before we came up. And but Noah's Ark was the thing that got the eyeballs, I guess, in sort of like mass media. And I think we were one section of a group of Black gay men. And over the years, it's widened out and it's widened out and it's widened out and it's widened out because you see more different kinds of the Black gay experience. Yeah. And I say gay, I know a lot of people use same gender loving or whatever, but gay is my shorthand. Okay. So
exactly. We can abbreviate your time. We don't get offended in the comments now. Okay. We're just talking grown. It's all right.
Yeah. And I have, you know, even on Empire, what Jussie got to do was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
That was a leap.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, so there have been leaps and bounds. I mean, and at the same time, there's always room for more. Do you know what I mean? There's always room for more. And because I think a lot of, you know, like, you know who really struck me? Have you seen the Black Mirror episode with, oh God. Yes, exactly.
Loved it.
Yeah. So like to see the guy who's now the new Captain America do that part was pretty amazing. And then if you go back in his career, he was in a movie called Brother to Brother.
Sure was. I remember that.
Yeah, that was him.
I forgot. I forgot about that role. I forgot that was him. I remember the film, but I forgot that was him. Talk about growth.
Right.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we are changing, but you know, but it's up to us. And the great thing is, like, through platforms like what you're doing right now, and what I'm trying to do in the film space, and what people are doing on YouTube and with on Here TV, and you know, all the different places we can now put content, and now we can all be content providers and creators. But the thing that's so important is that we do this shit right. I'm sorry, can I swear? Because that's a lot.
Yes, you can.
Back like crazy. Yeah,
well,
so we've got to do it, and we've got to do it right, because you know, like the talk that you get as a well, at least I got the talk as a Black man before I went to college about like how I was going to fit into the white world and what was going to be effective for me. When you are a content creator, you got to learn lighting. You have to watch. And you had to watch movies, and you had to watch TV, and you had to steal from the best and go, and then you had to take your time. And then you right, because nobody needs some half-ass shit, because the world is full of half-ass shit, and nobody needs that. And we do not have the luxury. We don't have the luxury of just doing half-ass shit.
Yes. That's right. Listen, preach. I don't like half-done shit. I'm always, you know, harping about that on my channel. You know, again, when I watch that, you don't do that half step. You put your whole soul to it, and it showed.
Yeah. Well, that really, I mean, the From Zero to I Love You is very revealing about me. I mean, in fact, they're actually like 3 of the characters are literally wearing my clothes, like my own personal clothes. And you know, Daryl's playing me, and so the movie says a lot about like about my life, and it says a lot about, you know, what I think about love, and certainly how I think about sex, and you know, and romance and all that stuff. And it is, you know, the first time I saw the whole film after it was cut together, I was really just sort of, I cried, and I stayed in bed the whole day, because I thought, oh my God, how much of myself can I reveal? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you know, it's when you're not, when you create anything, you create from your soul, and you create from a very naked space. And sometimes it could be very, I don't know. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it's easier to stand on stage buck naked, which I have done, than it is to reveal who you are as a person.
Yeah, I'd listen. It is. That is one of the the most vulnerable place you will ever be. Is to literally, as you just stand on stage in front of a bunch of naked and tell your story. Baby, that's faith. All right, that takes balls.
And hopefully a warm theater.
Yeah, exactly. The AC's too high, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Listen, the one I wanted, before we get into the second film, which I said I know I went in because I just wanted to talk about them as I saw them. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you kind of a hard question, but I want the hard truth from you. when it comes down to a particular topic that we have in our community about interracial relationships, that's be a hot button that I'm always hearing people talk about, and it's not uncommon for somebody to put up an array of pictures and why is this. When it comes to interracial relationships, how do you feel, number one, and how do you address it? Is it something that you face and that you grapple with opinions about you?
Not since high school.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I had my senior year, I went to high school and I dated girls for the most part of my high school.
Okay.
And until when I was a senior and it was time to go to prom, my girlfriend at that time was white. But before that, I had 4 black girlfriends from sophomore year all the way up to senior year. And some girl in my senior class challenged me about bringing Carrie to the prom. And I was just like, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Stay out of it. Yeah. And in terms of, I will tell you the bravest thing I ever saw in my life. And I was working at a law firm in Washington, D.C., and it was the early 80s. I think it was 1981, and I was in college. Mm-hmm. And I was on summer break, and I was working in downtown D.C. right off of DuPont Circle.
Okay.
And it was lunchtime, and I was standing there, and I was having a hot dog and an orange soda. I'll never forget this. And these 2 gay men were walking across the street. And the way they were walking now, you wouldn't even blink. But back then, they were both kind of dressed as like new wave and punk. Yeah. And the black guy had blonde. The top of his hair was all blonde. And I'll never forget, he had on a purple and black zebra stripe shirt. And these 2 guys in the middle of the day, in the middle of lobby and lawyers, were holding hands walking down the street, and the white guy was slightly ahead of the black guy, and they had their heads up and they were looking forward. Traffic stopped.
Wow.
Because it wasn't Friday night, it wasn't Saturday night, and it wasn't happening in the dark. It was happening in broad daylight during a work day.
Yeah.
And I remember looking, and I saw a cab driver look at them, and then the cab driver looked at me, and I looked at him, and then I looked back at them, and I thought, I've never seen those guys before, maybe never again. And I thought that was the bravest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I know that when I date a white man, it's a political statement. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had black boyfriends, and I've had friends, and a lot of people remember the white ones for some reason more than they do anybody else.
It's only on what they want to make a big deal about. Yeah.
But nobody's ever made a big deal of it to my face because I come from an integrated family. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So my sister-in-law is white, and I have one of my nephews is married to a white woman. And, so it's not a big deal. And, my dad's biological father was white. So it's never been like a thing for me. But I know that from time to time, when I hold a white man's hand in public, I am making a political statement. And I have, there are places when I'm like, let's not hold hands right now.
This moment. But not now.
Sometimes you just want to be comfortable, and sometimes you just like, okay, here we go. And it's more about walking through a group of black women than it is about other black men. Because black women will show you on their face what they're thinking.
There's no hiding it.
No hiding it. No,
how it is for me. I don't hide any expression, so I can only imagine how that is one cluster of people that are thinking a particular way. If you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to hear you say that. I think there's a high time, again, with so much is going on right now, that we have these very different conversations and really kind of elevate, our minds to accept that we are melting and that, we are blending and that this is part of it. So
Can I say this about because it has to do with the movies, because one of the reasons why the films that I've done so far have integrated gay relationships is because I had never seen those in movies.
Wow. Yeah.
And I thought, because we tend to fetishize, we like to look at what we like to look at, and then we want to dream that we're screwing it. Yeah. And I thought, yes, I've dated white men, every kind of guy. My headset just killed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're fine.
You're coming through my computer. My headset just died.
Okay, you're fine. I can still hear you. You're okay.
I thought if I can integrate the movie, I'll integrate the theater. And if I integrate the theater, I'll integrate the lobby. And if I integrate the lobby, then people start talking to each other and see each other, understand each other. So that, and you know, that's basically why I did it. And it reflects part of my life.
Say it again.
And it reflects part of my life.
And you got to listen. I always tell people, stand up in yourself and know who you are. And if you're living someone else's life, then what is there to be left of your own? I love that you told that story. You told it so boldly, and it was so, as we said earlier, nuanced. I just appreciated that. You had so much to show. I didn't see, I know people don't like it when we say this, when people say this. I did not see color. I saw two men loving each other with a very complex story that can be told with any two people. And it was told so well. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now this second film, and again, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm going backwards today. The second film that I watched by Doug Spearman just earlier this afternoon is Hot Guys with Guns. Oh, I'm showing the wrong one. Hold on one second. I have it in here. It was there. Where is it? I had a whole. Did I show the right one? Yes. No. Sorry. Hold on, Doug. I'm so sorry. I thought I had the right graphic up here. Well, listen, we've got the stars. I can definitely say that. Hot Guys with Guns. There we go. That's good enough. There we go. Listen, this was amazing. It had me laughing literally my belly. You are wonderful when it comes down to your the palette of interest that you have in terms of like topics. What made you do a comedy?
Well, I think I'm fun. I like to laugh. In fact, making somebody laugh is probably my favorite thing to do in the world. I've got cousins in particular, like, you know, that if I can make my cousin Lori or my cousin Robert laugh, it's the best.
Yeah.
And my friend, you know, like I have a couple of friends, like my friend Reed, my friend Jeff, Roy.
Yeah.
If I can get to them, I've done it. And in my family, being funny is super important.
Yeah.
You know, like I come from a funny ass family. And so that movie was based on the fact that I wasn't working as an actor a whole lot, like when I first started up, and I had a boyfriend who was at the time a hairstylist.
Okay.
And we were in a bar and we were talking about the stuff that we used to watch when we were kids on TV, and we both loved TV detective stories.
Okay.
In the 70s and 80s, and we thought, well, what would it be like if two gay men decided to become detectives just because they like to see them on TV?
Yeah.
And that's what basically happens.
The whole concept, like a mashup of genres. You have it's a buddy cop that's this actor element into it, and then the whole racial thing, and just there were just so many layers to it, and just the timing was so good. And again, the surprises. I just love the way that you tell stories. You of stories through that lens, I tell you.
Well, thank you. My favorite, my favorite line is actually from a Chinese actor in the movie, and he says, "It's Pip Armstrong and his little black friend." I'm not afraid of shit like that. I'm not afraid to call out, some racist shit. You know,
it was daring, and I will say, I'm sure you probably can speak to this as well. I do sometimes lament that we rely on comedy like we used to. Everything has become so sensitive now, and that's with respect, because I get it. But everything is so sensitive now that you have to be careful what you laugh at, and if you laugh at this, then it means that you're that, all of that. And the film was done, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was 2013. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And for that time, that we were still at a point where laughter was still, free, and you were able to enjoy it. Speak to that.
I'm not the most PC person. Do you know what I mean? And like the stuff that I crack about, like the shows that I watch, like Veep and Archer and Insecure. They're not culturally. I mean, like they're not.
They're very inappropriate.
Inappropriate is funny.
I love inappropriate. I do.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I grew up in I see. One of the things that I loved about growing up is that my mother and father were older, so they were in their 40s when I was born, and they were the upper middle class, striving black people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. My mother wore dresses all the time, and she smoked like a lady, and you know what I mean. And it was great. But my parents had the nastiest sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they had really horribly nasty senses of humor, and
Love
that's what I like. I like to put it in a really beautiful box, and you open it up, and there's a fart joke in it. You know?
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm telling you, you're speaking my language. We have to kind of blend it all. As far as how I was raised, my dad had a very gallows humor, dark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the most just unseemingly thing he would just find hilarious. And I was raised around that type of environment, that type of comedy, the George Carlins, that type of really comedy to where it's just you find a way to take the worst parts of life and you crack it open to find the best parts you can.
Yeah, well, a lot of it comes from dealing with pain. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
and I think a lot of it comes from the experience in Black America of getting crapped on all the time, and then after so much crap lands on you, you got to tell a shit joke.
Really, what is it about barbershop? That's the way to say it. You get crap on a lot of. You got to tell a shit joke. I know even on I use my nephew, Eric's page a lot of times on Facebook, and I make on there that everyone doesn't like. They're always written with a type of satire to them, and some people can get jokes and some people cannot. Sometimes I mean it and sometimes I don't, but there's truth in every joke. But I think that we need to have that space to be able to create that way, because I think a lot of times comedy is the only thing that will save us.
Yes, exactly. Especially nowadays.
Oh God!
I think if we're not laughing, if you can't figure out some way to laugh, you're gonna, the news makes me upset all the time.
Oh goodness!
And being a Black man in America, not just a Black gay man, but a Black man in America, is super stressful, and has been for 10 years.
Yes.
And, it's for about 10 years. Actually, since before Obama was inaugurated, I've been. And it's, I kind of relaxed for a couple of years, and now it's, now we're up,
Oh, now it's just kicking the high drive.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just it's crazy.
Putting it lightly. My goodness. Well, I've enjoyed my time with you, Doug. I'm so appreciative that you came to talk with me for a minute and to share with. Were you about to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, did we get to any of the questions that people asked?
Oh, listen, because they were kind of going in there. Let's see. Let's scroll up a little bit and see if there's what else is going on. We talked about that. I think people were already asking, did you used to keep up with the Ozark, and we kind of covered that. You said really that Daryl Stevens. I would love to talk to Daryl Stevens. I don't know if there's a way to have a chat with. Love to.
I can hook you up.
Can you? Okay, I'll have a conversation with him. Thank you. Let's see. Then we had our little hiccup there. What questions did you see? I know you were kind of busy on your computer.
Somebody asked me if somebody on the thread asked me if I was the Dorothy in the 4, and I just
saw that.
Never thought about that, and I guess I was. I guess I was the Dorothy.
Now I would say that Erik himself is probably, I would say maybe a Sophia Petrillo of sorts. Maybe. Yeah, I would say that. I'm probably the Dorothy of our little quad that we have going on time. Me and Erik and my niece and nephew, Ty and Melody.
You sure you're not Blanche? You sure you're not the Blanche?
In my younger days, I was definitely a Blanche. Definitely a Blanche in my younger days. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not lying. I still wear, low cut, things. So it's still in me. It's still there. It's still there. Let me know. Well, I was looking for some questions. I just have a few for you myself, I guess. What advice would you give to young filmmakers out there? People that want to get into the business?
Ask questions. Okay. So one of the things that I did, look for people that you like, get a hold of them and ask them some questions. Like before I directed my first movie, I took 10 different directors out to lunch or to coffee. And I said, can I buy you coffee? And I said, so what went right? What went wrong? What should I know? What should I avoid? And I took notes, and I actually carried that notebook around. And and everything that they told me actually happened. And but at the same time, don't give up on the vision, but make sure you've got a team that supports you, because doing it by yourself is impossibly hard. It's so hard. So build the community and get it done. Just do your shit, but make sure you build a community.
What is the greatest struggle you've had in your filmmaking career? As far, was it financial? Was it, the writing? Like, what would you say is something you're like, I cannot believe I even made it through that?
Raising the money.
Okay.
Which is a full-time job. It took 4 years to get the money together. And so whenever we would shoot, whenever we had money, we would shoot. When I didn't have any money, we didn't shoot. Do you know what I mean? And that's a terrible way to make a movie, but I'm not the only person who's ever done it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. People don't understand how much it costs to make a movie, because if you don't have any money, I mean, like the food alone, just feeding
the food alone will run you.
Yeah.
Food alone will do. Do you actually yourself? I know that you're directing, you write, but do you actually ever get behind the camera yourself and get in down and dirty with that?
No, not if I can help it. I mean, so there are people that do that. I mean, I'm a pretty good photographer.
Okay.
And it's usually my job to line up the shot and let them know what I want, but I'm not, I can't light, and I don't want to do all the work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hire people who can do really great things and surprise you. Let them bring their artistry to your project.
Absolutely. Yeah. How long would you say it takes you to accomplish a script?
Well, so I was hired to write a script in 2 weeks once, about 3 years ago, for a feature film. It's my first sci-fi feature film.
Oh my!
I was hired to write it, but they needed it in 2 weeks, and they only had like a 1-paragraph outline. So I basically locked myself in the house, and all I did was chain smoke and type for 2 weeks, and I just made myself. And then by the end of it, I was sick, so sick.
Oh wow!
But I just kept and but it takes. I can knock out a script in a month.
Okay.
Comfortably. A draft.
Yeah. Okay.
That means I have to sit down and dedicate myself to writing every day.
Say that again.
I said that means I have to sit down and dedicate myself to writing every day.
Yes, indeed. It's a discipline. It totally is. And you said earlier that you're, I think, in the beginning workings of a third film, is what I heard?
Well, well, the script's already written. It's a thriller. And thriller, not gay.
Okay. Broadening. All right.
Mainstream. And it's already written, and I've written, I think, 4 drafts of it. But it's really good. The more I write, the better I get. So
so
it's ready to go. So we're putting the team together. We're putting everything in place, and touch wood, we'll be able to go once everybody, all the unions figure out like what the protocols are. Because, social distancing and masks. Shoot like that.
I was going to ask you that. So now that we are approaching our new normal and we're phased out of our closets again, if you will, what do you see the future of film to be?
It's going to take it's going to be a lot cleaner. They're going to be cleaning things every night. Like one of the things that we're looking at in terms of the costs for the next film is the fact that they're going to have to clean everything on the set and all of the equipment every night. Yeah. It's a lot of time. And then we're going to have, like the sense of space is going to change. So we're going to wait and see how other productions get through what they've got to, how they go. I don't want to be the first one out there.
No, not the guinea pig. No.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Not me. No, thank you.
Yeah. Now, this is a random question. Hot Guys with Guns. Who was the vocalist that we heard? This beautiful voice that was kind of peppered throughout the film. An amazing voice. Who was that?
Oh, that's Mervyn Warren.
That was Mervyn Warren. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, Merv sings the song. He's actually in both movies. He's playing the piano at the party in Hot Guys with Guns.
Okay.
And what's really amazing is that he wrote that song, and we were shortlisted believe it or not, for Best Original Song at the 2015 Academy Awards.
I can
With that
imagine.
song. Our little gay indie almost got an Academy Award.
Yeah.
And Merv also wrote the song that's playing at Richard Lawson's wedding in From Zero to I Love You, and he's actually singing at the piano as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for me. He's an amazing guy. Merv created Take Six, if you remember what Take Six is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's okay. So that answers a lot of questions. Okay. I got it. Now I think back when we were having our little technical difficulty, I was actually asking you a question of my own. And I was saying, what is it like being coached by Beyonce's stepdaddy? What's that like?
Well, wow.
I gotta ask you that. All right.
No, that's okay. I'm just trying. I've known Richard since 1994.
Okay.
Since way before Beyonce came into the picture. But I mean,
of course.
He's amazing. I mean, Richard's an amazing man. He's been in the business since 1969. Do you know what I mean? So he knows a lot, and he's survived a lot. And it's funny, I was aware of Richard as an actor years before I met him because he was in Poltergeist. And I remember going to see Poltergeist when I was in college in the 80s and, saying, I'm like, that's the guy that I want to be. I want to be the black guy in the big white movie. And, he was Diane Carroll's husband on Dynasty. He was children. I mean, he knows his shit. And he's really, I think Richard really shines when it comes to guiding a person to be the person that they've always meant to be.
Yeah. He had me cracking up because he dropped so many F-bombs in that movie.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, Richard, your mouth. But I love it. I love dirty mouth. That's fine with me.
Did you see Miss Tina?
Wait, in the movie?
Yeah.
I missed it. I was so probably taken by everything else. What scene? I got to go back and watch it now.
Go back and watch his wedding.
Okay. I missed it. And I'm really good for catching things like that. I didn't see Miss Tina.
Yeah, in fact, Tina gave us
so
costumes for the movie. Tina gave us some of her own clothes for the movie.
Did she really?
She was really generous to us.
That is so beautiful. She just seems like just a warm heart. What is it like just being in her presence?
Tina is truly an amazing woman. She is incredibly down to earth. I mean, I have a mountain of respect for that woman because she is so down to earth, and she will get down with a glue gun and some
I can imagine
fake flowers and start making a set. Tina will build it. I mean, she's like she seems like she's just beautifully industrious. She is incredibly industrious and smart and funny and has what I grew up being called mother wit. Intuitive knowledge of the world, and she's amazing, and she's raised incredible kids. Twice, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Now, do you as well?
Do I what?
Do you teach as well?
Yeah, I taught for about 6-7 years. I've been taught, and sometimes I teach privately.
Okay.
I was teaching in LA. I was actually teaching at Richard's studio for a little while, and I haven't figured out whether I'm going to go back and do it or not. But it's always an option. You just got to pass it along. You're like, I get it, I have it, and then I give it to somebody else. Yeah.
Now I'm sure that this will be one of those things where it's like, okay, Auntie, you're going too far. Unless you have an NDA, is there anybody who can tell us coached?
No.
I figured so. I knew it. I was going to hit a brick wall. Everybody doesn't want to share.
You have to respect people's privacy, and you have to, because when people come to you for lessons, either privately or in group, it's very revealing. Do you know what I mean? They go through a lot, and they allow you to sort of get in them and work with them. And so I have to respect privacy and the sacred trust that they put in me. So
absolutely. Well, let me ask it from this angle. What is a common theme that you feel that you're putting into your students? Is there something that you feel, again, for young actors that want to get into the business and whatnot, what is something they're saying that you wish that every actor would get?
Okay, well, there are a couple of things. One, everything that you do goes into your work.
Okay.
You
Okay.
are
Yes.
working. All
Yes.
right. You are never not learning. You are never not observing.
Yes.
Number two, it's a lifelong commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. That means you have to watch what you eat. It means you have to have experiences
Yes.
outside of the world that you were raised in.
Yes.
So you are responsible for reading everything and going to
Yes.
museums and listening to music you wouldn't even like, but
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when I was being trained as an actor, we had to learn, like, literally. Okay, so when I was in high school and I was training, my teacher made us learn just enough German and Latin, German,
Wow.
Latin, and I was studying French. We had to read every play starting with the Greeks. Like, we read
Oh my.
entire
Yeah.
Greek dramas, and then we started in the medieval plays, and then we had to read all of Shakespeare. Do you know what I
Wow.
mean? So, like, it requires a great deal of learning and research. It's not like just something. It's like people think it's going to be easy, and people think just because you're cute you can act. No,
Listen. No. Not at all. No, sir. No, ma'am. It doesn't happen that way at all.
no, and you have to be willing to, like, fall on your face and make a fool out of yourself and
Yeah.
get back up and get rejected and lose apart and lose
Yeah.
apart and
Yeah.
lose apart and lose apart and then
Yeah.
get back up and then figure it out.
Was part of it, and I'm sure that we have covered this, but I want to ask it a different way. With you stepping behind the camera, would you say that some of that came from being told no, that you create your own yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
In fact, Richard and I had a conversation. I was Richard actually taught me, really was one of the two people that talked me into directing. I had a career coach.
Mm-hmm.
I had a life coach, and then I had Richard as my acting sort of career coach. And
Yeah.
I was on a movie, and I was really unhappy with. I was unhappy with the experience of having made this movie, and I was leaving. I was leaving the business. I was going to literally going to just go. I was going to go buy a movie theater, and then that was going to be it. And I was just going to go watch, just show art house films. And I told Richard, as a courtesy, to have a sit down and say, "This is it. I'm done. 40 years in business. I'm getting out." And he said, "Well, look, stop waiting for Hollywood to call you. Make them plan B. Your plan A, you're a director. You can direct. Go direct something."
Yeah.
And it's easier now than it was 20 years ago.
Certainly. Oh yeah.
And because technology, I mean, if you've got a phone, hell, anybody with a TikTok or Facebook
in your hand,
account, you're a filmmaker now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people,
absolutely.
If you got access to YouTube, you've got platforms.
Yeah.
So, when I was about ready to quit, Richard in particular and Barbara Deutsch, who's a fantastic life coach.
Oh yeah.
In Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
They got me to pivot, and I'm so glad that I did.
Wow.
Because once I did, I was no longer waiting. Once I made that first movie, I realized that I was no longer waiting.
Yeah.
That I was in charge.
That's the way it's got to be. I think that, and like you said, I think there's more opportunities for people to do that, create their own work, and really make a name for themselves.
Look at you. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you've created for yourself.
Thank you. Oh, it's a passion of mine. I've always had it. I didn't know that it would end up here. I don't think we ever were going to end. I'm glad that you know little old me. When you, I think you had one post of mine, and I said, "Oh my goodness, Chance knows me." I was so excited. Really, truly was. It means a lot. It does. So what is, after all is said and done, what do you want people to remember about this and amazing Doug Spearman?
Wow. Hopefully that I made things that made them smile and made them think, and that I was part of an experience. And, years and years ago, one of my teachers, Milton Catella, said, "So what do you want your career, what's your career trajectory?" And the first thing that came to me is I want a couple sometime in the future, sometime from now to go, you know what, honey, I want two things. I want a couple to one person to turn to the next and go, honey, let's watch a Doug Spearman movie tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I want something that plays on television once a year around a holiday.
Okay.
Like when I was growing, like how It's a Wonderful Life comes on every Christmas.
Yeah. Or
the Ten Commandments.
Uh-huh.
Or the Wizard of Oz comes on every year at Easter.
Yeah.
I want something that is so popular, that's so good and makes people feel a certain way that it comes on every year and people stop what they're doing, that it becomes a tradition.
I see that. You could easily do one of those. Just the vibe that I saw in the movie that you've already done, that's a no-brainer for you. I mean, it's me saying that to you. I think that's a no-brainer. You should have that in the bag. Oh, yeah. Definitely that. Well, listen, I want to make sure, I told him that I was going to say this. Doug is single. All right. He is available, ready to mingle. And he's in New Orleans. All right. So you can do that over some Creole cuisine. Yes. Listen, I want to make sure that we bring up what he's got going on. So let's just get him over here. Second, I want to make sure we bring up a proper graphics for you. So again, we've talked with the amazing Doug Spearman on this evening, and we want to support him. So please go to Instagram as well as Facebook, and you want to go to @DougSpearman. Myself, he makes it easy for, and he just has his name, the name that you need to remember. All right, Doug. And as we were talking about before, with this film, what is out right now, From Zero to I Love You. So make sure that you go as well and on and share and tag people in the content there as well. From Zero to I Love You. All right. He is an amazing person, gives great station, a really brilliant heart, just a wonderful artist and just human way around. And I think that we need more of that. We need more people that, as we were saying before, just that have that humility about themselves and have that self-awareness and just the love that's needed, and you exude that so well. I wish you all the best. And anything that we can do here at VanZap, you let me know. I will pump it up for you, baby.
Yes, ma'am. Well, From Zero to I Love You is coming out on June 2nd on Amazon Prime, Hulu. I think it's going to be on Netflix. I can't quite remember.
Oh, all right.
And Aristocal.com. So
Aristocal.com.
So look.
Yeah. And I'll do a follow-up post after this, just kind of recapping this amazing conversation with Spearman, and I will put all that information there where you can go and films out. And they are amazing. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that. I don't go for crap. All right. And if we wouldn't even have the man here if I didn't think that he was worth it. All right, but he is worth it. And I'm so glad that he's here to share with us. Go and check out the films, the pacing, the cinematography, the heart in the story, the writing. I could go on and on and on. I'm not just saying that. These are great films that you will enjoy. All right, the ones that he has out right now, From Zero to I Love, and Hot Guys with Guns. And they were hot, and they had guns. Makes me want to go to a shooting range myself. It does. Any lasting words for our audience?
No, I'm just really grateful to have had the chance to sit down and talk to you. I'm amazed at and very proud of your growth. I think, not that I have anything to do with it, but I just think keep doing it.
First of all, thank you, and second of all, I inspire each other and keep pushing each other. And whenever I see you running, it reminds me, even if I get winded, that I have to keep running too, and I appreciate that.
We rise together.
Yes. Hopefully I found a new friend, and this won't be the last time that we talk.
Absolutely.
If you have a few moments, would you care to come over to Instagram and just say hello to my friends over there? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go to Instagram, and for those of you know, the Auntie After Show is on Instagram. I'm going to take a quick little break to go refresh my fridge, and we're going to go over there and just say hey, and I want them to come in and say hey to the people. You know, the Instagram is a whole mood over there, and they are always ready for it. So once again, I want to thank you, Doug, for just spending time with us. I want to support you. Let's love him, and let's keep pushing the arts, okay? This is Imani. Oh, yes. Did you just say something else, baby? I'm sorry.
I just said thank you, darling. That's all.
Oh, no, thank you, baby. I appreciate it. All right. This is Imani VanZap, here to help you fix your shit. All right? And babies, I will see you soon.